Hey, we're Greg, Arthur, and Roland, and we're the 3 Down Bros. Welcome to our podcast where you, the fan, can expect game analysis and in-depth commentary on both the BC Lions and the CFL.
Our social media accounts are in the description below, and please leave a comment.
So tell us what you think, what gets you excited, what gets you upset, but most importantly, let's have fun.
Please like and subscribe.
You know the drill. Let's kick this segment off by breaking down a couple of the plays from the 2022 Western semifinal between yours, mine, and our beloved BC Lions and the perpetually playoff-tested Calgary Stampeders. Roll it. Okay, Arthur, I think what we've got here is that third down gamble.
From Calgary.
From Calgary.
It got stretched out, and then the Lions rallied. But it was a flag on the play.
Stuffed it. Okay, let's roll that back. Let's break this down a little bit here. What do you think of the call? Let's start with that. Hindsight always being 20/20. What do you think of the call, Arthur?
3rd and 1. Come on. You gotta get a yard with the CFL defensive line backed up 1 yard. You push it forward.
Okay, well,
hit the A gap.
Hit the A gap. Let's put it right back to the start of the play, Roland. Can we?
Yeah.
Our ever well-versed producer. Okay, so Arthur, why don't you start this off? Let the fans hear your insight on this one.
I mean, I'd go right up here, man. I mean, yes, it's an empty backfield. I mean, I guess he does a jet sweep. I don't know. I'd do a sneak, or if you have carry, push it forward.
Yeah, it was just 1 yard.
You've got one of the best short yardage quarterbacks in the league who torched Edmonton in the last game of the season, and all he's got to do is basically fall forward through either gap. Is that what you're calling?
A gap.
A gap. And you look at that. They are exactly 1 yard off, and the Lions are playing the quarterback sneak. So, if you're Dave Dickinson, is that why you call the play you called?
Well, I would say there's only one linebacker. I don't think they're playing the sneak. They're playing wide. They're playing wide.
To cancel the gaps.
Well, I think they know what they're doing.
You think they know it's a jet sweep to Malik?
Yeah, empty backfield.
Okay.
Is there an empty backfield? I think it is.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I think there's another guy out here or back here, right?
Okay, let's roll it. I don't see. Yeah.
Stop it right there.
Great penetration.
Did somebody miss a block, or is that just great effort by Woody Baird?
Should we pull it back?
That is just beating his guy off the ball.
Yeah, I mean, one-on-one.
Because they're all playing cancellation blocks. He turned the wrong way. Yeah. Or did Woody Baird influence his turn?
Yeah, 65 moved right. Or is it 69?
69.
Yeah, he moved right.
So I would say maybe the handoff went too much to the left.
Should have been more so.
Because then he's thinking, I'm gonna turn you this way versus turn you that way.
Right.
So therefore, I'm assuming that this guy is gonna be maybe here. So by the time this guy comes, he's gone.
Okay. So a combination of poor execution on Calgary's part and pure effort on BC's part.
I would say maybe this receiver did a late break. And maybe he went a little too much over to the left. And that combination with Barron caused the issue.
Okay, poor execution. Let it run. They pay for it. So as we can see, Woody causes that bubble.
Yeah.
So you're saying it caused him to just change his trajectory here. Even though he misses the tackle for the loss, which would have been huge and cheers all over the place, right?
Like, look at, he's 5 yards deep from the line of scrimmage. Barron influenced him to go another 5 yards deep and stretched him out.
So, but I'm just saying, like me, as a fan, would have loved to have seen a tackle right there. That would have been just in all the years I've seen Calgary walk all over us, that would have been icing on the cake for me in this particular play.
Yeah.
But job was well done by Woody, though.
Third down, got to stop him. Just hold them, right?
Just hold them. As long as they don't get that first down. Okay.
Exactly.
So let her go.
That's good straight arm.
Yep. And that is Malik Henry. He's got some wheels.
Yeah. He's 11 yards back
And
now.
right here, we've got the chance to make a tackle for a good loss.
Little shove in the back.
Little block in the back. And I believe it was called. Yeah? Let it roll. So that tackle could have been there. And a good cut by Malik there. Pulls McComm up. But now, by that time, Calvary's here.
But you see that cut? He had too much speed trying to beat that tackle. He had to stop and pivot, and it was a tough pivot. His hand hit the ground. He lost a lot of speed to cut up field because he was running out of field.
And that gives time for that Calvary to get there.
Because if you rewind it back like 3 seconds, how many lions were in the flat? There were none.
No,
So the pursuit got there. There was only one guy, and there was a block on him.
because that cut really, I mean, had he not lost that momentum, he might have got that first down because he beat that one guy in the flat.
One guy in the flat. And then here comes the Calvary. And the Calvary actually made the tackle, apart from the penalty.
Well, I'm going to go back in time and go with my Lions track record that the Lions of old, that would have been a first down.
The Lions of old, maybe not in the playoffs lately.
Oh, good call, good call. Good call. And for those fans that are out there that have suffered a long time like myself with Lions in their playoff history, that flag does not get thrown on that block in the back. CFL officiating, pardon me, Mr. Ambrogi, but CFL officiating 90% of the time, that would have been a missed call.
Well, home field advantage, and how many Lions home field playoff games do they have? So
Very
this
few.
is not a Lions of old because
No,
now
because they're in the
hosting.
play. Yes.
Home field advantage. I
But
call.
would you agree that's a missed call? Majority of the time.
I think it's a 50-50 call.
50-50 call? We'll have to agree to disagree on that one.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have a second play? Let's go the other side of the coin and look for a Lions third down gamble. Okay, here I believe it was 3rd down and 2 BC. So you've got a decent short yardage quarterback in Pipkin
Yes.
based on rep. Okay, and is Calgary playing that sneak?
Interesting is they are. They're playing that sneak. They're definitely, yeah, they're playing that. They're playing for the sneak. Empty backfield. Butler's here.
That's right. They're playing for the sneak. And then again, you've also got some guys out here on the corner. Should Pip for contain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Roll it, because I believe this is where the Stamps were caught by surprise. And for those of you that watch this game on TV, and the millions of others that watched it everywhere else, was that a TSN turning point with that touchdown? Did this play put the game out of reach for Calgary?
TSN turn. I mean, they're up, and Calgary was doing nothing.
Yeah.
They just increased their lead, but it was definitely a momentum killer for Calgary.
Yeah. It was a huge morale killer for Calgary. Yeah.
But I wouldn't say turning point. No.
Seal the deal?
No, not seal the deal yet.
Okay, but definitely slowed any momentum Calgary was trying to build.
Yeah, because then the Lions' best player is on the bench, and you beat them on a play that they didn't think they would be beat with.
Fair enough. Can we roll that back row? Because again, I'm going to wind the clock back and go back to the Lions' playoff track record of old. Antonio Pipkin being the less than confident quarterback all the time, as he's proven to me, my opinion. But this is also my podcast, so I'm allowed an opinion. But it is also the People's Podcast too. Remember that.
Definitely.
Okay, so as we see that line, was it Junior Thurman that got in there that fast, or Jameer Thurman? Jameer Thurman. My mistake.
Yes, it looks like it was him.
Okay, stop it right there. So he is now through cleat because
Rhymes
did not miss the block. He was going on a route. So he is in free and clear. Antonio Pipkin of old panics. Let it run just a little bit more, row. And keep going a little bit more. Stop it right there. Antonio Pipkin of old in a Montreal Alouette uniform. He's either overthrowing that, fumbling that, or throwing it away. And throwing it away would have brought out the boo birds, which is what you don't want at a home playoff game. But like you told me a little while ago, this is the Lions of New. 2022 Nathan Rourke Lions, and look what happens. Antonio Pipkin hangs in there and takes half a sack.
He's
pretty close to going down.
He held in as much as he could because he had to. I guess he had to cock the ball back, and just in time.
Now, we both have the pleasure of being at that game that day.
For sure.
When that ball went up, again, my time machine kicked in, and I'm thinking that ball is going to fall helplessly and innocently. Let it roll a little bit more, Roland. Right in between those two receivers of Rhymes and Hatcher. But now that we've got the benefit of instant replay, and again, our producer extraordinaire, we can see that this is a little bit less close than I thought. It had a 90% chance success rate.
I would think so. They practiced this, and Pipkin just throws it up there. It wasn't a dart. It was kind of a moon ball.
Yeah.
And then Hatcher ran underneath it.
Yeah.
Would you agree with me though? Lions of old. This receiver here makes an attempt at the ball and tips it so that receiver does not catch it and it falls harmlessly in between them. Would you agree with me on that one?
Lions of old.
Of old.
The O-line doesn't even protect Pipkin and he gets sacked.
Oh, okay.
That's the Lions of old. I mean,
Okay.
Lions of old, it wouldn't even got to the pass wouldn't even got out of his hands. The ball would have got out of his hands.
Lions of not so long ago.
Yeah, well.
I mean, like I said, when I saw that go up, I'm thinking, why didn't they keep the ball? Right? Again, quarterback sneak. Pipkin should have got it. But, hey, hindsight, it is what it is. That's why it's 2020. But you were saying something about, we were looking at this earlier. You said no chance of what you're thinking happening, Greg, because Rhymes broke off the route?
It looks like Rhymes is going to the flat, and
Okay.
and Keon Hatcher was just going like a go route or flare.
But
Go downfield.
he is keeping his eye on that ball because he's not just going thinking it's coming over his shoulder to drop into the bucket.
Yeah, like he got distance away from someone else, and he knew the ball was up, and then he turned around.
Okay, so let's go back it up just a little bit more, Ro. I'm going to take this telestrator again. So you're saying that Rhymes was going out here in the flat?
Yep.
Okay, and why? I'm going to pass this over to my trusty colleague, you. And why do you think that was not thrown in the flat?
Well, we have this guy in a pursuit position ready to cut underneath it. If his pass is coming, he's under duress, it's going the other way. If he's short or low, it's going back. Pick six.
Or if he has no momentum because of the tackle he's in, or if this guy here gets a hand on it or anything. Is that what you're saying? Anything could have got wrong going to the flat.
I think it's easier when you're backpedaling to throw straight and deep versus wide and shorter.
And accurate.
And
have the accuracy.
So I think it's easier to throw long and high.
So you would have been happy as a fan at that game paying all that hard-earned money of yours if that was an overthrown pass and the Lions got nothing on that third down
That's
gamble.
fine. As long as field position, yeah, you don't lose the 10 yards. You don't want to give up interception or like a pick six, which would be the worst case scenario.
And so far our D has been holding us in up to this point anyway.
Oh, for sure.
Fair enough. Okay, so that was that
Well,
fans was
He did give it a lot of airtime because he knew that Rhymes was wide open. There's no one nearby, right? So he gave it a lot of airtime for Rhymes to basically just wait for the ball to come, right?
you mean Hatcher.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hatcher, sorry.
But if it was up in the air, like Arthur said, and it was short, Rhymes probably could have come down with it because he did beat the guy. He did have this guy beat in the pursuit position. So if he had gone up a little bit shorter, that's still rhymesable. Is that a word, rhymesable?
Don't forget, like Thurman's coming at him, and you it's easier to lob it than throw a.
I'm saying a short lob to Rhymes would have still been okay versus trying to hit him in the flat. But again, he knows what route Rhymes is running. So agreed. So you're okay if we got nothing.
On a third down gamble, you're on the 45. Well, you're pinning them, hopefully inside the 10-yard line. You go for it. I'm fine with being incomplete.
Okay, well, there you have it, fans. 2 third down gambles. One by Calgary, one by BC. Both came out in BC's favor. That's our play-by-play segment. Here we go. It's the 2023-2024 off season of the CFL. And let's take a look at, again, yours and mine and our BC Lions. We've had some additions, and we have definitely had the subtraction. I don't know about you folks out there, bittersweet. Nate's pursuing the dream in the NFL with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't know about you guys, but I felt my gut ripped out. I'd like to have seen what he could have done one more year up here. What about you, Arthur?
Well, I'm a generational talent in the CFL. A lot of buzz and hype and winning for the home team. It's hard to argue that we would want to see more.
And it was fun winning. It was entertainment winning.
Awesome.
It was justification for Amar Doman money spending winning.
It was generational performance.
And speaking of generations, look at the demographic that were at the games that we were so fortunate to be at. There were millennials there, pre-millennials, teens, preteens, kids, all wearing number 12. I normally get numbers on my jerseys, but then I started to stop the trend because every time I got a number, the player left. So I was blank this year, and the player still left. So I'm not responsible for that.
You're not responsible for that.
Thank you for justifying that. But let's look at that. Nathan Rourke, the most pivotal position in the CFL, and that's quarterbacking.
And he was the best player in the CFL by far last year.
Even at 75% during playoff time.
Yes.
Well, like every reporter has said, on every type of media, from online, print, social, all of that stuff, it's now VA's team. That is Big Play VA.
Big Play VA. He changed his Twitter handle, by the way. It's just Vernon Adams now.
Oh, it's just Vernon Adams. Because I was campaigning for No Play VA because he's yet to prove to me, who has been watching this game for more than, well, from when Noah built that ark, I've been watching the CFL. And Big Play VA, even this 2019 banner season they talk about, didn't impress me.
Honestly, it all depends on his teammates. His offense, the receivers, do they believe in him? If they believe in him, they'll go and make plays for him.
Okay.
He's not like Nate.
Nobody's like Nate.
No one's like Nate. But if the receivers believe in him, they can still get it done.
Can the O-line give him the time for that fragile psyche that I have tagged him? Maybe fairly, maybe unfairly. But can that fragile psyche handle and work in sync with that O-line that we have? Because we've had some additions and subtractions there too, which we'll probably get into later.
They're going to design an offensive scheme around Adams' strengths. His strengths are to handle the ball, run around a bit, go deeper.
You talking playground football? Doug Flutie football?
Maybe. Because like Nate was more fast, accurate.
Gunslinger football.
NFL style.
Oh, Arthur, that stings. That stings.
Throws in tight windows.
CFL.
Throwing in tight windows.
True enough. And we do know who his idol was growing up as a kid.
Brett
Favre, okay. But Vernon Adams, this is now his team. That worries me as a paying paying customer right this point in time. The Grey Cup is not for another year in this town, but I've got to deal with 18 games with number 8 leading the charge. Can you make me feel better? Can you make those fans feel? I'm sure there's some people out there in the fandom that have the same insecurities that I do. Maybe not the same pessimistic outlook. Let me know if you do. The link's at the bottom.
Here's a hot take for you, Greg.
Okay.
I think with Adams and Evans and Dominic Davis, our collective quarterback position is better than last year. No offense to O'Connor and Pipkin. Pipkin I like as a third down quarterback, but collectively, I think they're better.
As far as talent, as far as skill, and as far as ability, I would have to agree. Because O'Connor, unproven, but when he's had the chance, I didn't even strike me as a game manager. I don't know about you.
He only had a half. It's hard to manage. But then the Lions, unfortunately, didn't give him another chance. Well, he was injured, and then they traded for VA. So it's hard. It didn't look like he had the ability to win road games in the Prairies.
Well, we don't even know if he had the ability to win a dome game on the coast, because I think that's the game he got hurt in, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So in all the other, because I mean, he was in Calgary and Toronto before, I believe. How much playing time did he get there? And did he show enough? Because those teams didn't hang on to him.
Yeah, well, and he didn't get much. Yeah, I think he had a couple of starts in Calgary the previous year before he signed with the Lions. It's more the OC and the head coach would see how he's picking up the playbook.
Okay, and I guess they didn't see enough because they went out and got VA.
They got VA. Well, yeah, they got VA. They went to get Evans and Dominic Davis. So that tells you.
So that tells you there's no confidence in Pipkin either. Not as much as Dominic Davis and Dane Evans.
Yeah, I think I thought Pipkin did enough to be the third down. I mean, the number 3 quarterback and the third down quarterback. But I guess you're going to have only one backup. So, yeah. So, Greg, what do you think about Dane Evans, the BC Lions' new 1B quarterback?
Are you starting a quarterback controversy already after what Dane Evans said during his press conference?
Well, I think he's open to learning, and that's perfect.
Open, yeah, and I believe too. I mean, in all honesty, he is used to working in a 2-quarterback system, which everybody says you need in this league to win.
Definitely.
As we saw, again, can I wind my time machine back?
Time machine,
the Roy DeWalt era. Who backed up Roy DeWalt? Does anybody remember that?
Tim Cowan?
Right. How many games did Tim Cowan get in?
Not enough.
Right. The one game he got, he was horrible because he got no reps, right? Anthony Calvillo. Who backed him up? Anybody?
Oh, what was his name? Tall guy. Tall, lanky guy, right?
No idea.
There we go. It became Matthew Schultz and those later on, but again, nobody remembers. And how far did those teams go? Yes, we won a Grey Cup back in 19. It was fun, but hey, we got lucky. We had no Mervyn Fernandez in, but hey, back to the quarterbacks. Dane Evans, different style than VA.
Yes.
Agreed?
He won in the playoffs.
Yes, he did. And he didn't mind
he almost won the Grey Cup.
Can we take almost? As a long-suffering BC Lion fan, I will take almost.
And the Grey Cup against Winnipeg on their peak, yes.
Yes, and he came in rather cold. Because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Mazzoli was in, and then Mazzoli wasn't quite getting the job done. Speaking of not quite getting the job done, does that happen here in BC? If VA becomes maybe play VA, do we go with DA, Dane?
I think that you give Vernon a little bit of a longer look, but you have good receivers. You know, couple of series and see what Evans can do.
Okay. For fear of stirring the pot with some of the longtime fans out there, is Dane Evans a younger Mike Riley? Style-wise.
Ooh.
Pocket pass or drop back, rolling out when he needs to. Is he a younger Mike Riley?
I mean, Riley's he's a blood and guts guy on the field. He'll do anything to get a first down.
Yeah, I don't know if Evans has shown that, right?
Well, hey, but if he has that warrior mentality, that's great. Let's see.
Okay, yeah, let's see. Kamloops will reveal a lot when that training camp happens. Dane Evans, okay, and then do we go to the double D? Single D, double D. Dominic Davis, proven guy in the league in the backup position, has started when he needed to and didn't do too badly.
Is he an upgrade on Pipkin?
I think so.
I like Pipkin as the third down quarterback, but is that enough to be your backup?
Well, who's the, is it not, correct me if I'm wrong, they're Roland? Oh, Roland's not on the screen. No. Is Dominic Davis the record holder for short yardage or something like that? Did he not set the record this year?
I
believe it was Dominic Davis, wasn't it?
I don't recall.
We'll have to check that fact. Yeah. But he had to start when he had to, and from what I remember a couple years back, he wasn't that bad. And he is a seasoned veteran. I think he's got a little more mental fortitude than Pipkin. Pipkin, as a guy, love him. Saw how he took the whole game onto his shoulders. That first game he tried to take over for Nate and didn't fare so well. But I think Dominic Davis has a little more panache than Pipkin.
And hopefully we won't get down to our number 3 quarterback, but...
Oh, that's shudder to think.
Yes, but hopefully not. We can keep our top 2 quarterbacks upright.
Okay. And now if you do play a 1-2 quarterback system, 2 differing styles, as a defensive coordinator, who do you prepare for? Or is that probably a recipe for disaster, going in there purposely with a 1-2?
I think defensively you're always going to take away the run first. And then once you can take away the run, you dominate the line of scrimmage. It doesn't matter what kind of quarterback is there.
Okay.
You will just vary your coverages depending on the tendencies.
So you are secure in the 3 quarterbacks we have going into camp.
I think that compared to the beginning of the season when it was Rourke, O'Connor, and Pipkin, I like our 3 now.
Because in your opinion, there's a big drop-off between 1 and 2 back in that day between Rourke and O'Connor?
Yeah. I mean, we were hopeful for O'Connor, but he wasn't really proven, right?
You know you're hopeful because then we had a 2 Canadian quarterback system, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now the drop-off's not that big between VA and DA. Can I go with that?
I mean, and also if you go back to the beginning of last season, Rourke had won he started 2 games, one in Saskatchewan, he got blown out in the first half and he came back. And then the last game of the year, he blew out Edmonton. So coming into the previous year, we didn't know what to expect. Everyone thought that he was going to be good, but there was no track record, or there was very little.
No, I myself, guilty as charged, maybe a game manager at best. At best.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say subpar 500 record.
So he blew everyone's expectations away. I mean, the players knew. All the players thought that he was going to do something special, and he did.
Fair.
So, speaking of quarterbacks, as we're going to transition to our next segment, we talked a bit about Vernon Adams, and we know where you stand on Vernon Adams.
Well, no, we know I'm standing a little firmer now, thanks to you.
A little firmer. All right. Little victories.
On the Karate Kid on the boat on my one leg. Mr. Miyagi might rock it a little bit, but we'll see.
I'll take those small little victories. You name.
You're taking what the defense gives you?
Yeah. 3 better quarterbacks that you would start in a playoff game over Vernon Adams in the CFL.
Over Vernon Adams. Okay. Well, gimme. Zach Caleros. That's
for sure.
Fish in a bucket, or ducks in a bucket, whatever that is. Okay. I'm going to go out here. I'm going to probably ruffle some feathers, speaking of ducks. Trevor Harris. Little more consistent trajectory than Vernon Adams.
Okay.
And 3 quarterbacks, you asking?
3rd quarterback.
Oh, for fear of starting a quarterback controversy, do they have to be on other teams, or can I say Dane Evans, proven playoff starter?
Oh, you love to stir the pot.
Hey, what's a podcast without a little bit of current, right?
Hey, that'd be great. That would be great. That means there's only 2 better quarterbacks in the CFL other than what the Lions have. So,
in my opinion,
I would take that.
Because Trevor Harris is now in Saskatchewan.
Yeah, so he kind of may not be even a factor.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's... I think before the start of this year, and credit to him, he played very well in 2022. But before that, I'm not if I look at his track record and his performance, I thought 2022 was a renaissance year for him. So for him, I hope he can keep it going. But just looking at the prior years to that, I don't know. Like he was in Edmonton when the Lions signed O'Reilly.
And he beat us like an old rug.
Well, he beat our defense. But
hey, you win as a team, you lose as a team.
True,
and he beat us. He
True.
made the Riley signing look like an afterthought.
But they weren't happy with him either. I don't think they won any playoff games either.
Nope.
So, and then he moved on to Ottawa or Montreal, right? Montreal.
Because I think he was Ottawa before Edmonton, where he did appear in the Grey Cup, didn't win, but then again, he was up against a Calgary juggernaut.
And that Ottawa team was decent back then.
Mm-hmm. Rick Campbell coached.
That's right.
All right, well, hey, speaking of quarterbacks.
How about Jeremiah Mazzoli?
Oh, the forgotten man. Ooh, hang on now. Okay, you know what? Thanks to that, Roland. I'm going to make it. Can I make a quick substitution?
Oh yeah, you can.
I'm going to plunk Mazzoli, a healthy Mazzoli, into the Trevor Harris spot.
Number 2 quarterback.
A healthy Mazzoli.
A healthy Mazzoli would be better than I agree.
From what I've seen, Mazzoli, he can be erratic. He's an Oregon Duck, much like VA, but he seems to have a little bit more of a confident edge than VA.
True.
Body language speaks a lot on that field. And I don't know, Mazzoli seems to have a better body language than VA.
VA last year seemed really hesitant a lot of times. But is that because he's really hesitant, or is that because of, not really understanding the plays?
I think it's a new scheme. He came in half the year. I mean, he didn't have a training camp. They come in. I mean, he had that. Remember, he came in less than a week. They gave him like 2 series, and he struggled. And then the first few games, there's just so much to learn with a new scheme, a new OC. I don't think he's played with anyone before, like all the receivers.
Nope.
So, and the team lost its best player, and maybe they lost a little belief.
Yeah.
Of course, I mean, that's human.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there was a lot on his shoulders, and he still pulled out a winning record.
4-2. You're going to hit me with that 4-2. Okay.
4-2.
Flipping the coin.
Yeah.
That was heads. This is now tails. Vernon Adams. Okay. What can you do offensively with a football, Arthur? How do you move the ball offensively?
I mean, it's not all on the quarterback, right?
No. Let's boil it down to basics. How do you move the ball how do you advance the ball in football?
Well, obviously you need an effective running game.
Okay, so you can run the ball. And what's the only other way you can move it downfield?
Well, you're going to pass.
Pass the ball. Okay, that's 2 ways. Run it or pass it.
Your basic football knowledge blows me away, Greg.
For those of you that are tuning in for the first time, this is the bread and butter of football here offensively. You can move it either by running it or by passing it. Now, Vernon Adams is supposed to have the ability of both of those things, right?
Yes.
Okay, there are 12 men on the field offensively, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
In the CFL.
In the CFL. Take away the 5 doggies that are in front of that quarterback. How many guys you got now?
Well, you have 6 in
6
potentials.
6 and then the quarterback, right?
Yeah, I mean you can't throw it.
Okay.
You can't throw it yourself.
In the CFL, is it safe to say every team employs a 5 receiver, 1 back system? The majority of the
Mostly,
time.
Yeah.
The fullback has gone by way of the dodo. No offense to our fullback. But okay, you're talking a tailback and 5 receivers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the receiver tree. There's only so many branches you can run off the receiver tree. And there's only so many gaps that the running back can run through. A, B, off tap, whatever. So Vernon Adams is paid a lot of money. He's a professional athlete. He is paid a lot of money compared to you or I to do what he does for a living. All that man has to do is wake up in the morning, look at the playbook. That route, that route, that route, that gap is the same for every single team in this league. And there are only 9 of them. The lingo may be a little different, but I'm sorry. You've got a 12-hour day at the money you're making to figure out the lingo and match it to the little X's and O's in that book. I don't buy the excuse he wasn't comfortable with the playbook.
Incentive-laden money, not big contract. And if Rourke is throwing in tight windows, if he's throwing in tight windows, that's maybe not Adams' game.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
So it's going to be over the top, to the sides, hitting someone in stride, versus throwing in like a very small box.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have the confidence to do that.
Then we go right back to my argument. Fragile.
Who in the CFL throws in tight windows? Like what?
Caleros. He throws in tight windows. He gets picked off, but he throws in a tighter window.
I don't think they were that tight.
No, they're not that tight. But again, we're
Like
talking.
Rourke was throwing in tight windows.
Yes, tight window. Fair enough. But okay, then I'm going to go take this argument another layer. Jordan McSimic, supposed to be the quarterback whisperer, the offensive whisperer, the specialist that can design a playbook based on the ability of the quarterback.
Yes.
Right? Okay. You know what you got in VA. You've been in the league long enough, like McSimic. He's seen VA play. Again, there's not that much difference between a BC, Edmonton, Saskatchewan, Winnipeg, Montreal, Toronto, Hamilton playbook. Ottawa playbook. Just the words are different. The basics of football, run it, pass it. There's only so many receiver routes that can be run. Take the ones out with the tight windows, put the ones in, as you say, over the top to the side. Ask Vernon what lingo he was familiar with back then. Equate it. Again, you've got 8 hours a day, 5 days a week to do nothing but study a playbook.
And these OCs are working 12 hours a day, you know.
Yes, for not as much money, probably a lot more fun than the living you and I have. I don't know. Be willing to try. Maybe a special teams coach, Mr. Campbell, you might have an opening. Prove to me you don't. Anyway, that's another episode. So I don't really buy the fact that he's not comfortable. Football's football and I'm sure everybody's heard the line. These guys have been playing since Pop Warner, since community ball here in Canada. They've been playing since they were 8 years old. Let's give them benefit of the doubt. Playing since they were 13 years old. A receiver tree is a receiver tree. Double, Rambo, lingo, might be over here. Milo, around the hedge, right? 2 different lingos. Receiver, one's doing a 5-yard out, one's doing a 6-yard curl, one's doing a go. It's the same thing. So again, my jury's out, because I love you, brother, but my jury's out. VA's got to prove to me that he can play.
I have a certain amount of confidence that the BC Lions quarterbacking won't be their Achilles heel this year. So it will not be. It'll be. I think they'll be fine.
Fine, okay.
I think they'll be fine.
Can we make the playoffs with the quarterbacks we have?
Well, yeah, I mean, they have the second best quarterbacking in the West.
That's right, because I picked one of the 3 top bidders, right? Okay, all right.
And then Saskatchewan's not gonna be there in the mix. So.
Ooh, bold prediction. They've got Trevor Harris now with all that quarterbacking carousel.
And who else did they pick up?
That's a good point. Who wants to play there? But when we get back from the break, we'll go into the quarterback carousel of the CFL.
For sure.
We'll be back after a word from these sponsors, which we don't have yet.
Greg, let's talk about the big quarterback carousel that happened this offseason. So what's your big highlight?
My big highlight?
Did we? Yeah.
My big highlight? Oh, I gotta go. My big highlight is to see the smile on your face when Cody Fajardo on the Saskatchewan Rough Ride out of town to become a lark. Because that's what an Alouette is. It's a meadow lark. So dare I say, Cody Fajardo is now a lark in Montreal. That was my biggest highlight, because those are 2 pretty big name quarterbacks who had some pretty good success in this league. Literally 1-for-1 trade. But
it seemed like if the CFL quarterback is akin to musical chairs. There wasn't that many open chairs. So basically, where did Cody have to go?
Well, they did. What about Toronto? They were saying Toronto.
I think they had their eye on Chad Kelly.
Chad Kelly and MBT.
MBT, they thought that he wasn't good enough, so you can try it. So they didn't want. They were going to go with a younger guy.
Okay, and Hamilton. Well, that's Bo Levi country now.
Yeah, well, also true. Toronto was in the running for Dane Evans.
Okay, because the writing was on the wall once Bo Levi signed it, right?
Yeah.
Ottawa, you're banking on Mazzoli coming back?
Yeah, you have to.
Okay. Do you think Fajardo would have taken a backup role anywhere?
Apparently, Fajardo said 6 teams reached out to him.
6. 6 out of 9.
Yes.
That's 66.66666%.
I'm certain some of them only had to be backups. Well, if
Winnipeg, definitely not a starting.
Mm-hmm.
Edmonton, are you sold on Cornelius? They gave him that contract, but are you sold on him? I mean, his management, would you have reached out to Cody just to kind of kick the tires?
Well, I mean, Chris Jones would know for Gerald. Right? So, yeah, probably reach out for a backup position.
Or a competitor, let's compete?
I think even BC might have reached out to him.
Who's Edmonton's backup behind
Trey Ford?
Trey Ford and that receiver guy that plays. He will play quarterback if need be. He has come in on short yardage. Number 10. Don't remember his name though.
Yeah, so all I know is when the Lions sacked Fajero, when he was wearing a Saskatchewan Roughriders jersey, there was great joy among us. Number 1 is because we sacked a Rough Rider quarterback, and number 2 is because, well, Cody's a little bit of a diva,
So it just brings you great joy.
Great joy. So I don't know if he gets sacked as an Alouette. I don't know if I'll have as much joy. So I mean, but I'm still have joy because a sack's a sack.
Well, then is it safe to say the joy jury's out on that one?
The joy jury's. We'll have to find out.
We'll just have to go make sure.
Hopefully, it's going to be multiple and plentiful sacks against Mr. Fajero.
Okay. So yeah, where else would he have gone other than Montreal? Edmonton, maybe. Yeah. And then I don't think he was going to stay in Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
That was.
So basically, out of like three of the 9 teams were no go. One was Saskatchewan. Probably one was Calgary.
And Hamilton. Well, Calgary. Do you put your hopes on Jake Bear?
They have.
I mean, even despite that playoff performance.
It's a point of no return for them once they moved on to him that they were committed.
They were committed. I mean, you could say maybe the receivers, they needed some big plays out of their receivers. Carey wasn't as assertive or distinctive in that game. I thought Carey would do more.
Be the difference maker?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say X factor, the definite difference maker.
Well, he was their MVP, right? I mean, I think Mayer won them some games. I think Carey won them more.
Did Ryan Phillips do enough to negate Carey then in that Western semi?
I think Calgary got down.
Okay.
And they needed to play catch-up ball. And they tried to run Carey. I'm surprised they didn't run them more. But, you're down 2 scores.
Okay.
But going back to your previous question about Fajardo and what teams were available to him, I think by the time he was really available, a lot of teams had already committed to other quarterbacks.
Exactly.
So he was pretty late, right? He was one of the last quarterbacks who became available too. So that was kind of, I felt bad for him.
Did Saskatchewan kind of leave him flapping in the wind?
I think so. That's
hanging in the wind?
Well, I think he should have just, if that were the case, he would have jumped at something else. And if another team came to him hot and heavy, he would have gone. But I don't know what team would come at him to be their starter after last year. Because a lot of the starters positions were already taken.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess the only starter I question is Taylor Cornelius because he's never played in this league other than last year. I mean, all the other ones have a name, have a reputation, have history. Taylor Cornelius doesn't have anything yet. So
He looks like Ricky Ray.
Yeah, he runs about as fast as Ricky Ray too.
He looked better at the end of last season. I think they give him a chance.
Well, Chris Jones looks like he's going to give him a chance.
Yeah.
Is Trey Ford a forgotten man, or is he going to get a chance to compete again in training camp?
I think he'll compete again. And you need 2 quarterbacks to win in this league.
And Montreal has one in Cody. I don't know who they've got backing him up.
Well, I guess they gotta settle their ownership first.
It's settled now, right?
Yeah, it's settled.
So when you look at it, this carousel that they were so waxed on about, really, you said not too many changed. But then I think it was more the magnitude of the names that changed is why they call it the carousel.
Mm-hmm.
Carousel, sorry. Bo going to Hamilton, Cody leaving, Trevor moving, Dane Evans moving. I mean, and at the time they talked about the carousel, MBT hadn't made a decision yet. Now in hindsight, he's gone down to the USFL, I believe.
So Chad Kelly's now the starter. So another change in starting quarterback.
So
I mean, compared
that would
to
be the carousel versus team movement. I think it's just quarterback movement.
just overall, I mean, if you look at like Rourke was the starting quarterback for the Lions starting last year. Now it's going to be Vernon Adams. So then that's another change. Yeah, and I think Trey Ford. I don't know if did he have the start at the beginning of last year for Edmonton, or was it?
No, it was Cornelius. And
Cornelius
then I think he kind of spun his wheels a little bit. They went with Ford, who was looking good until the injury.
And then Mayer took over in Calgary, right? So there's been a lot of change, and it'll be good to see. Hopefully they can retain some quarterback talent in the CFL.
Well, you got it. I mean, it's a fun league. The game is a great game.
Yeah.
It can be marketed as such. In fact, if I can digress, I was reading about the passing of Bud Grant last week. Minnesota legend, Winnipeg legend. Do you know in 1952 he was playing for the Philadelphia Eagles, and at the end of the year he walked out on the last year of his contract because there's a team in Winnipeg that was offering more money. So mark that down, ladies and gentlemen. At one point in time, people thought it was crazy, but the CFL paid more at one time. Let's not look at when, just let's hang our hat on the one time the CFL paid more than the NFL. But, with what's going on now, you said there wasn't a lot of not a lot of chairs available for musical chairs. But I think it was who moved and why, with quarterbacks leaving, like you said. So Chad Kelly, proven
for 2 minutes in the play and in the Grey Cup that mattered.
Looked pretty unflappable.
I mean,
against the Winnipeg defense, he did not look intimidating.
Winnipeg defense looked like it was a little out of gas at that point in the game.
And that's when
they played a lot of football the last few years.
Yep. But again, that's what being a champion's about. You're out of gas. And I'm sure they were out of gas the other 2 years they played and won that Grey Cup.
Yeah, they were close games, right? Any other thoughts, Roland? What was your highlight for the quarterback movement?
I guess the same as you. My highlight was, I think, I really think that Cody got a bad deal. Like Saskatchewan just turned on him. He was there. He was, the year before, he was like, rah, he's their, their hero. And then in 1 year, they turned on him. And yeah, I'm sure he carried some responsibility for how badly they did, but it wasn't all on him.
We just don't know what's happening behind the scenes in the locker room. We don't know if he's blaming people, he's taking it on. We don't know that side of things, right?
Yeah.
A healthy Duke Williams would have definitely helped that offense.
Yeah.
A healthy and intelligent Duke Williams.
Yes.
I mean, how many suspensions because of his short fuse? I mean, that cost him some games too, non-injury.
Yeah.
Right?
And their O-line was beat up. And they went with fine the last few games.
In a do-or-die game, they went with fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they wanted to move on, and they just wanted to change. My highlight was it seemed like there's a lot of teams in the league because it caused this carousel of this movement. A lot of teams are dissatisfied with their starting quarterback, and they wanted something different.
Yeah.
You know, who actually improved?
As much as I begrudgingly have to say this, I think we did. Like you said, it's the overall. Like to me, if you go just one-on-one VA versus Nathan,
yeah, for sure,
no,
for sure.
To me, I'm not sure it's a step back. I'm thinking it's a step sideways and a pivot back. But I don't think it's a full step back. But as far as quarterback room goes, definitely I would say yes. Hang my hat on it.
Okay. So the whole quarterback roster.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Hamilton, they had Evans. They lost Mazzola in the offseason last year. Now they go to Bo Levi. Is it an improvement? It's hard to say.
If he can have a renaissance year like Trevor Harris did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the last couple of years with Calgary, he seemed to be not as sharp as before. So, yeah.
Well, like I went back on that point about the CFL paying more money. It is a great game, and it is quarterback dependent. And the movement amongst teams, I think, is better than the movement out of the league. Because we need some consistency in this league for that new generation coming up, the pre-teen, teen, pre-millennial, millennial, that, as you said, if I go back on your word, generational. And I think, Nathan Rourke's jersey, from what I've read and been told, was the only jersey that sold league-wide to that younger demographic. Now that he's not here, we don't know for how long. He may come back, he may not. But we got to have that quarterback that catches the interest of those kids and make them want to go and play some football.
Yeah. I mean, other than the insiders and the players who played with Rourke, he was a relatively unknown. Like the whole league didn't really know, his capabilities. So,
but 2 leagues know about him now.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, I guess, is are there other
True. Well said.
yeah, that's true. But are there other players that are hidden, hidden gems like him, right?
I mean, you look at like McLeod Bethel Thompson went down to is gonna go and play in the U.S. I mean, and Nate's gonna play there. So you got 2 of arguably the top 4 quarterbacks last year. They went down, and NFL they're starting for improved quarterback play as well.
Yeah,
and that's just the pressures of winning.
Win now.
Yeah.
For the NFL, and it's affecting the CFL.
So,
but the NFL is always going to affect the CFL, unfortunately.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I do want to throw this out. I mean, if we're in closing here, I want to throw this out. Did any of you guys read that quote by Mr. Lemon?
What was the quote?
The quote was, he had gone a little farther into the free agency availability than most people thought.
Yep.
Probably longer than he thought. And everybody goes, why didn't you try the USFL? Why didn't you try the XFL? Why didn't you try the AFL? And he said, because my league is the CFL. That's the league that gave me my start. It's full of great people, great players, great coaches. And this is my family. And this is where my family is. This is my country. He has adopted the country of Canada. This coming from a guy that went through the NCAA, Div 1, NFL, all of that stuff, has gone out and promoted this league as a worthy league, much like McLeod Bethel Thompson did before he departed. We need to have that player consistency, to have more players of that same opinion, of that same conviction, of the same conviction about this league that you and I and all of those people on that fandom have.
Well, for sure. I mean, Lemon. I mean, he's done well in CFL. I mean, he was the Western nominee for the Defensive Player of the Year. He had a great season, and you could give kudos to him to having great years. At his age.
Can we call it 3 times lucky? Does this improve our pass rush? This is his 3rd time as a Leo. I wonder if he'll have a 3rd different jersey number now. I'm just asking.
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, we have the Lions have a really good rotation along the defensive line, so he doesn't have to play as much as he did in Calgary. So maybe he'll be fresher, and he's a year older, and think it's the Father Time's going to catch up to him.
Well, let's hope Father Time catches up in 2025.
Exactly.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for tuning in to this inaugural podcast of the 3DB, the 3 Down Brethren. Hope we'll see you again at our next segment where we will talk about additions and subtractions during the free agency period, or something even more interesting. Out.